Well, Halloween time is upon us on both coasts. We're going to talk about that. Oogie Boogie Bash has some interesting villains. We're going to look at those. And there's a lot more coming for you tonight on ParksCenter. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ParksCenter for tonight, August 25th, 2024. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys, as always, for being with us. We appreciate you. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, WDWNT-TV, for more great content. And also, please make sure to give us a thumbs up as it helps people to find us. If you've never been to ParksCenter before, we appreciate you stopping by. We're going to try to give you about 60 minutes worth of Disney news with this lovely panel that we've put together tonight, starting with Shannon.
Oh, I'm on a top spot today. Hey, everyone. It's exciting.
I mean, you paid extra for it. You might as well get it. And Desi?
I never get the top spot. Now I'm super jealous. So, hey.
Wow, I'm glad this has become a thing. And in his favorite spot is the one, the only, Mr. Pete Carney.
Woo! I am excited to be here. I didn't know spots mattered, but I'm excited to be a power bottom. Let's go on the road.
Yeah. Wow. Set the tone early, and then everybody knows what to expect. That's fine. That's great. Let's do that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. We appreciate you. If you want to chat along, we'll watch you in the chat or super chat if you feel so moved. And then tonight we're going to start off by talking about Halloween time at Disneyland. And I need to preface this by saying that Shannon, in our pre-chat, said, Rob, we're Disney World people. We're not Disneyland people. But I feel like we're Disney people. We're Disney people, and we have opinions on things that they do on both coasts. I love Disneyland Halloween personally. I love the fact that you get Halloween at both parks. I mean, that's a thing. Like, we get, they fill both parks with Halloween. Disneyland Park, this beauty is in place where it should be. At the top of Main Street, and that's an exciting thing. And also, they also have one of my favorite overlays, which is the Nightmare Before Christmas over top of the Haunted Mansion. There's the gingerbread cake that they have every year, and then they do a lot of different things there, the overlays, the treats, and that kind of stuff, without it being the party at night. They have the party over at the other park, and that's Oogie Boogie. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I'm assuming nobody else but me has been here at Disneyland's Halloween. So I'm just going to say, Shannon, have you at least looked through the lens and said to yourself, hey, someday, because you love Halloween, don't you?
I do, and I love Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I will say, Oogie Boogie Bash has seemed top tier for the last several years. I think it speaks to the fact that it sells out so quickly, and those character meet and greets can't be beat. If you've watched me on this show, you know that I am personally not a fan of meet and greets. I don't care about them for Mickey's Not So Scary, but the live action meet and greets that they have at Oogie Boogie, I'm a little jealous, and I think I'm going to have to go at some point.
All right, remember Pete? Hey, there he is. So we're going to have to belt him down. So one of the things they've...
I forgot we were talking about Halloween for 45 minutes.
My bad. That's on me. One of the things that they've done, which is sad to me, is they've stopped the Magic Happens parade. One of my favorite parades. It's awesome. But they've temporarily replaced that with this Halloween cavalcade rolling down through just to celebrate Halloween, and then they'll have the Christmas parade, and then hopefully Magic Happens returns in 2025. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that their Halloween fireworks, to me, are one of my favorites. Favorite fireworks shows, actually, in general. This Hollow Screams that they do. But the cool thing that they also do is they sync it up so that you can see it as part of the Fire of the Rising Moon's fireworks that you can see from Disneyland. I got to see this when they were doing it for He's Ever Changing. We need to stop panning away, because then when we come back, Pete's going to have Mickey Mouse ears on. Challenge. So when we go to, like, when I went when I went to see this during Pixar Fest, it's really cool the way that they go. Okay, wait a minute, you can't hear the audio that is playing for everyone else on Main Street. They go back in and they do a different story, and they show these fireworks. And I know, Desi, you have to be at least a little bit jealous of that, as you have gone and gotten your ears.
Well, I mean, I figured if Pete was doing a costume change, then I should do a costume change as well. I'm super jealous. Why? I remember the first time I heard that they were going to have fireworks in Batuu. I was like, what? That's amazing. I can't wait to see that. And then I realized it was only in Disneyland, and I was so disappointed. And now to have like special fireworks in Batuu, like, come on. It's not fair. It's not fair. Our
Well,
Batuu gets nothing.
Pete, thoughts on any of this stuff so far?
No, I totally agree. I do think if I was a Star Wars fan, the West Coast is the better coast for your Batuu. But it's still blowing my mind that there's 2 planets called Batuu. So like, it's still Batuu 1 and 2. Batuu 2, that would be fun.
Will you keep going if I just leave the camera on you, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I can go all night. Let me tell you some more about it. They have 3 entrances. They could be Batuu 3. We could be Batuu 2. Batuu 1, maybe there's a prequel that's always been built that we don't know about.
So you're saying you could do this all day? Gotcha.
All
right.
I can go.
Yeah, no, I believe you. I am not now. I'm not
I
challenging
prefer to
you.
talk about like the food and wine stuff later, but I mean, if you want me talking about California's Batuu, yeah, I'll just keep talking about it.
What we're going to talk about right now is plastic, because boy howdy, you know I love me some plastic, some sippers and some popcorn buckets, but they have gone all out in California. This thing right here,
Wow.
I want this. This is like a glow
Same.
cube it says probably will not turn you into a llama. But I mean, that's awesome. And then they seem to love their glow cubes. Here's an apple one. Here's the pumpkin, a zero straw dangler. This little topper that's a Mickey ghost. And then, of course, they do tumblers. They do love a good tumbler. And their popcorn buckets, and that's in addition to the Mickey popcorn bucket that we have at Disney World with like him wearing the pumpkin costume, and then a pumpkin sipper. Shannon, I got to ask you, do you look at all this stuff and say this is all garbage? Or do you go, I need this stuff? Because for me, I love the popcorn buckets, but I can't wrap my head around the straw danglers and the
Oh my God,
things
that's
like
the
that.
one thing I would like. I like an accessory.
Really?
Yeah.
An accessory?
Yeah, who doesn't need to zhuzh? I don't need a big giant cup that's just going to clog up my cabinet, my kitchen cabinet. But that, if I'm just, having a drink on the couch and I want to spice it up and have, fun with it. Oh, but the Emperor Cusco vial, it's taken way too long for them to figure that one out, but I may need to get my hands on that.
I feel like that there's an overall love vibe for the Emperor's New Groove that most people do not like, that Disney doesn't embrace enough, because I feel like most people love that movie. So yeah, I definitely think they need to be doing more of that. Pete, again, I don't know. Do you don't like to collect things anymore, right?
No, that's the thing is I love to collect things, which is why I don't do too much of the Disney collecting, because there's too much to collect. Like if I went down the pin trading popcorn bucket, luckily I only had the Magic Band. I don't have it with me; they're in the other room. But it's the only buzz I got. I probably had 60 to 80 Magic Bands, and then I had to stop when they switched over to Magic Band Plus, because I was like, this is gonna get out of control. So I'm trying to not collect for this reason. It looks really cool. Honestly, the stuff's awesome. I just wouldn't be able to stop. It's just that lounge flies. It's literally everything is collectible. Kudos to Disney.
No, for sure. I definitely love that vial. The one thing that I do want to point out too is this thing has a name that is the Poison Apple Glow Cube, it has a longer name than that. It is the Green Poison Red Apple Glow Cube. And it's so small, it shouldn't have a big name like that. That's absolutely ridiculous. But I do have a bit that I don't know much about mixed drinks, and so whenever I'm at Disney World, I will literally just default to whatever has a glow cube.
I think Pete knows something about mixed drinks. But...
I know. Pete's like, that's the worst one. Why would you do that? And I'm like, because it has a glow cube. Because it has a glow cube, though.
You pay for the glow cube. You're paying extra dollars. By the way, fun fact at Disney World, if you don't want a glow cube, you can actually tell them, or the lotus flower. You could say, I'll have it without it, and you will save $2 will come off the price of your drink. It's just a little hack if you already have a bunch. I mean, I have like 19, so I'm good.
Well, why?
Anyway, that's my plastic piece. My fun fact for the week in the Halloween plastic category.
Okay, let's talk about Oogie Boogie Bash, and specifically the villains they've added. If you've never been to Oogie Boogie Bash, and again, we're moving through the Disneyland stuff, guys, I swear, but I love all of this stuff. Disneyland's Oogie Boogie Bash is, to me, the best hard ticketed event I've ever been to, and Shannon, like you mentioned before, it sells out very quickly, and so every year, one of the coolest things is what villains they're going to have on the treat trail, and the way they do it is very different than Disney World with the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, where you go and you take your bag and you go to one treat stop and you get one thing of treats. You go through like a queue, and as you're going through that queue and hit several stops in that queue, there's a villain there for you to see, and they've done some really cool ones. They did Sid from Toy Story, which I never thought in live action would be really cool to do. Cool. It was awesome. They did Zombie Captain America. They did Maleficent one year. They did last year they added Dr. Doom, which was a huge thing. This year, one of the ones that they've added is Hades, with a very cool effect where when Hades gets mad, his hair and the scenery turn like a hot orange glow.
Great.
Yeah, talk about that for a little bit, Shannon.
I mean, that's really cool. And why are we not getting this in Florida is what I want to know. Oh.
People may have trouble hearing Shannon. You might have to turn Shannon up. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
why?
I will talk louder for the people in the back, but this sounds like a really
I mean, I
cool
love
thing.
I love everything you're saying. So just for me, go ahead.
Well, as the title says, I'm more of a Disney World person because we all know that is the better park, resort, whatever you want to call it, and we need to be getting these characters. That's all.
Are you starting fights over here? Is that what's happening?
Best park is best.
It is true. They do get way better characters than we do, and you would think we would have so many more opportunities because we have 4 parks. They are just putting every single amazing, like we didn't even get they had the Sanderson sisters as Minnie and Daisy. I don't think we ever got that over here. I don't know, especially not taking pictures. Maybe on a stage show. They get so many awesome characters that you take pictures with and interact with, where we might get maybe just a handful of them, and if we do get them, they're social distance, way up on a stage, or they're on the Tomorrowland Terrace stage dancing. We don't get these fun interactions. I mean, Disneyland gets hooked up with some characters.
David Long in chat is going East Coast, West Coast battle.
I mean, East Coast for life, but you know what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, you know what? I love them both, and somebody said something to me about I need to go to Disneyland more often. And last week, and I was like, I go a lot. I have a Magic Key, but I feel like they're very different. But I know that a lot of the people who are on the West Coast come to Disney World and they think it's too big, it's too spread out, because at Disneyland they show up, they get to the Esplanade, they can throw a rock at either park, and they can it's that close. But at Disney World, you've got the blessing of size, but you also have the blessing of a 40-minute bus ride to the next park. So it's one of those things where there's give and take. So
walk out of Disneyland, hit a brewery, and walk right back into the other park within 20 minutes. It is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so one of the things, though, that I feel like that I wanted to mention is that they had Agatha Harkness in Marvel's The Avengers Campus, and now they're going to do the Agatha version from the new series. What were you saying?
That's a bad wig. They couldn't do anything like that.
That's her natural. That's her natural hair. I don't know what you're talking about. Are you sure? I feel like that's her natural hair.
Are you sure that's not Madame Leota just out of the ball?
Could they not just find a brunette woman?
Yeah, right?
I feel like all of the princesses, whether they have blonde hair or not, wear the wigs. Whatever color hair they have the wig, because the wig is the right. I mean, they're the real princesses. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I actually preferred the Agatha from before, because I thought it was really cool that she was, the evil that she was before. This looks like evil working girl Sigourney Weaver is what this looks like. No. But the one I want to talk about before we move on is this fella, because somebody in the chat when we first launched the show said he looks amazing. Someone else said something else about him. Dr. Doofenshmirtz, there was actually I think a TikTok with Dan Povenmire doing his Dr. Doof with this guy. I'm not sure what I think about this, because there was another version of him where he has like a plastic head, and I'm not really sure that's much better. Desi, do you have thoughts about this guy that you can say on the air?
No idea who this guy is.
What?
No idea who he is. What show is he from?
From Phineas and Ferb.
Okay, no, I'm sorry, I'm not a Phineas and Ferb person, but I have seen the character before, so as soon as I saw this guy, I knew who he was, but he is terrifying. That guy, he creeps me out. The pointy chin, the prosthetic chin, prosthetic nose, prosthetic pointy head. I don't know, like at that point, why are you even a face character? Creeps me out. I don't like it.
Okay, I guess so. Let me show you. I guess for reference, this is what Dr. Doof looks like.
Oh, that doesn't look.
He doesn't look as much like. He doesn't look as much like the moon guy from McDonald's.
Or the troll in Norway.
Yeah. No, that guy
so
looks like
Pete,
those side by side would be pretty.
So
close.
Pete, you're not a Phineas and Ferb fan either, but you're definitely not seeing this.
I mean, no, I love this guy. Looks like a Muppet had sexual relations with Pinocchio.
Pinocchio.
It's very interesting. I'm just these are the characters that I live for. I love meeting characters. It's even better if I don't know where they're from and have no context they've done or why they exist.
Dude, I have to tell you that in radio we had a mascot we had a sunny radio station, and it was a mascot with a big sun head, and kids would come up and hug and want to take pictures, and I'm like, why? You have no idea who this is. Like, there's you don't even know. But I mean, everybody loves a good mascot, right? So I mean, I would love it if you had like a little photo book of all of the characters that you had no idea who they were, that you had your picture taken with.
One. I have a ridiculous collection of me with characters doing silly things, but yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. You're welcome. Let's move on to talk about plush headbands. This is something that came up at Disneyland. It came to Disney World. It's become a thing. It's a create your own headband where, and we haven't talked about it yet. And I feel like it's become such a big thing. We sort of have to talk about it at this point. But the basic gist is you go and you get a headband, and then you can connect these different little stuffed animal heads, basically decapitated Disney characters, and wear them as a trophy around the parks. Shannon, you have to have an opinion about this. Is this something you're like, let me get my hands on these, or is this like, what are you thinking?
I've been wanting them for a while. They're very Tokyo-esque, I think, in terms of the merch that they have. I first saw something similar to these at Super Nintendo World when I went to Universal Studios Hollywood, and I really wanted the singular Yoshi on top, but couldn't find him anywhere. But this is the next best thing, I think. I want the problem with adding the Nightmare Before Christmas characters now is that I really want Zero, but I was dead set on getting Donald at first and maybe Chip and Dale. I'm sure that once I get to the cash register with all of those, it's going to hurt. But I really do want them. And I'm not even an ears girly. I like baseball hats, but...
Well, to talk to somebody who isn't ears girly, Pete, what do you think of these?
These look like a lot of fun. If I had like a brother or sister who was wearing these and I had a Nerf gun, this sounds like an awesome game to really have fun for the whole family.
Oh.
Yep, but, I think that's why why people have them, is so that they can be taunted.
Interchangeable stuff. I mean, there's people who've been doing this on like Etsy and other places with ears. So like, this is kind of smart by Disney to have another merch line that's another collectible, interchangeable, swappable. You got like the new emos. They come up with something new every year. It's crazy. They're just printing that money. But yeah, they're cute. Would I wear them?
Remember,
Probably not. I got a big head. Those things never fit.
you remember when ParksCenter started and the big thing was rose gold and then each of the different
Oh,
colors
yeah,
of
we talked about
everything?
rose
Oh
gold
yeah.
for once.
Yes.
Someone called it the
This.
wrong color the other day, and on instinct, I didn't even mean to do it. Someone's like, "Oh, that pinkish." And I'm like, "It's rose gold," and I was like, "I am so sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. I took offense."
Did you go get your act together? Did you like
Yeah,
grab them like that?
pinkish.
Okay.
Like if anything, it's more like a salmon. It's rose gold.
What I like about this new set is that you can have sort of a Halloween theme and have like Jack, Sally, and Zero, and then take them off, and then maybe they'll do something at Christmas or I don't know. But Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, Chip, Dale, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Stitch, Buzz Lightyear, Little Green Alien, and Lotso Huggin' Bear is the list of other ones that are available. So, Desi, you seem to be wearing some ears. Are you going to get these?
No, I'm not going to get those. I'm sorry. I'm more of a, traditional ear girl where they are in the shape of ears. Even though I'm not opposed to having somebody's head on my head, yeah, I can't personally picture myself wearing those.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, what I love, you're more of a, if they're not Club 33, they're not for me kind of a person.
They just have to look like mouse ears, and those look like decapitated plush heads.
Oh.
Decapitated plush heads. Well, on that note,
Yikes.
let's
Go get them, kids.
Let's talk about Galaxy's Edge. But again, like we were talking about before with California getting all the good stuff, these two things that we only know to be true for Disney. We have to preface this. We only know these to be true for the one in the West Coast, and that is that they have a new droid that you can build that is unlike anything I think that we've seen. It's the new ALT droid, so you can take a look at it and see it here. It's very, very different, different looking droid.
Like
and Desi,
like one of the ones that can climb stairs if it really tried.
it kind of does, doesn't it? Desi, I can see you built a droid.
I personally did not build any droids. My sons, for their birthdays, their more recent birthdays, I took them to Droid Depot, and they each got to build a droid. One of them just wanted to build R2-D2, but I talked him into using the clear head, so it wasn't exactly R2-D2. But how cool would it be to get an attachment for just the legs? Because obviously he's already built the droid. I'm not going to go buy another droid, but because I think the article said it's the same body as the R2 series. Can I just buy the legs? And if so, how much would that cost? Or do I really have to buy a whole new droid? I like that it's the same cost. It doesn't cost an extra to get that droid versus the regular R2 series.
Why did you go R2 instead of BB, or why did he go R2 instead of BB-8?
Oh, the other one went BB, but it was red and
BB.
black instead of white and orange.
Gotcha. This is mine. His name is RDJ257.
Aww.
He's very plain, obviously. But I was trying to get something. There's the popcorn bucket that has like 82 different colors on it. I needed it to be symmetrical, but that's my boy. He is. They're $99 a piece to do this. I did hear some stuff about the BB units early on, that they weren't as durable, maybe, or they didn't stay together as much as some of the other ones. So,
But you
and I
can
think
do more with them.
Like, what
They
kind of
have
things are
more-
you doing? Like playing practical jokes with your neighbors?
You can
or...
have more chips that will go in them and make them do different things.
Gotcha. Okay. Chip and Dale? No. Never mind. That was.
I think they could have more chips, more like Doritos.
Oh, gotcha. The other thing they're doing is that they have new and returning dishes for the Batuu Harvest Festival, which is a fancy way of saying we can't say Halloween in Galaxy's Edge, but we can certainly celebrate it. And there's some really interesting looking food here.
Cool.
Again, I don't know. Let me just make sure here before I go any further on this one, because I don't want to. Shannon said no. Pete, what do you think about this food?
Well, before we get to the food, can I tell you how many festivals we've had in Batuu here on the East Coast? None.
Yes.
Not a harvest festival. Not a festival to welcome new droids into that. No festivals at all. So,
no
if
festivals.
anything, before people start critiquing this food over there, be happy you even have some food in Batuu. Good for you guys. I don't know. It looks cool. Again, I say this on a lot of these shows. Is more everything, right? Why not try things, do new things? I think the food looks cool. Will it taste good? I don't know. Like when we've gotten some of the weird food items here for the Halloween party, like with sometimes like that black bun or like some like impossible stuff that comes out, they take some big swings and sometimes they do not connect. But at least they're trying. This looks kind of cool. I mean, you're in a festival on another planet. That's super cool, in my opinion. Good for that. Where's the alcoholic beverages though? What about that?
No, we don't want to do that. Before we move on, Desi, anything about the harvest food or what Mr. Carney said about no festivals on the East Coast?
Yeah. I mean, I don't care about the Harvest Festival. I care about Life Day. Somebody asked me in the chat if this was a, oh, no, this is Chewbacca in his Life Day robes. And all I could possibly want in the holiday season is to see Chewbacca walking around Batuu in his red robes.
Why don't they do that? I don't understand that still. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have a legitimate holiday we can shoehorn into Galaxy's Edge for like around Christmas, so we should be doing that. But yeah, I do agree with you, Pete. Like they have like the BD droids walking around in California. They got a bunch of like Finnick Shan's like the day after, like all of these characters that show up and everything, and we were always told, well, it's because of the timeline, right? The sacred timeline, Desi, the one that that has to connect to the Star Cruiser, but that doesn't exist anymore.
Thank goodness for Marvel Jesus.
Yes, exactly. For Deadpool. Let's get Deadpool into Galaxy's Edge. Is basically where I'm going here. That's what I wanted to do.
He'll figure it out.
So let's talk about corn dogs for a second. I have there's a fan of the show who messages me all the time and asks me when the freaking corn dog booth is going to be open, and it's not Patrick Hackett because he is also a guy who continues to message and go, when's it going to be open? Like this project took longer than Avatar, longer than Tron, longer than anything else to take this nice little booth that has been out on the boardwalk and make it into a blue ribbon corn dog stand. And I think that it was like, wasn't it a corn dog stand to begin with, just not the blue ribbon? Like it was already a food stand. It wasn't like it didn't exist here.
It was a food stand, not a corn dog.
Okay,
yeah,
so it was a food stand out there. So we had our reporters went out there and grabbed one of everything out there with these corn dogs. There are some definitely interesting looking foods out here. With this, they do pagers. It's like a legit business, but it took them 900 years to come up with these corn dogs. And
it's like a legit business.
It's like a legit business. Yeah. Shannon, thoughts?
Yeah, look at that cup. I mean, I'll spend $9 on a lemonade to get that cup. It's not, it's disposable. It's not a souvenir cup, but isn't that great?
Yeah, it's not going to last long.
Look at that theming. Stop. No, I'm going to get my hands on one of those. I think they need to have more booths on the boardwalk. Like I like that they're, why did you have to replace one is my question. Why can't we have more? There are sometimes when the boardwalk may feel a little dead, and I think it would be more lively if we threw a few more, but I guess at the rate at which they open them, maybe that's, my expectations are way too high.
There'll be another one open in 8 years. Yeah, honestly, the boardwalk is one of those things that in concept, when they first announced it, back when Michael Eisner was talking about the decade of Disney and expanding things, it felt like it was going to be a mini Disney Springs, or at that time, downtown Disney. And instead, it's kind of become this like rotating area of food. And right now we're in transition because the ESPN club's been closed since pre-COVID, I think.
Ooh.
And then now you've got the Cake Bake Shop, which if anything's taken longer than the blue ribbon corn dog stand, it's the Cake Bake Shop. We don't even have a date on that one yet as to when that's going to open. And, Desi has promised me we're going to have high tea whenever that happens. So I'm really looking
Absolutely.
forward to that one. Pete, I know that the boardwalk has been like a second home to you in times of your life. Do you still feel like there's a lot going on over there? Do you agree with Shannon? We need more stuff out there?
Yeah, I agree with both of you. You kind of took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say that boardwalk has so much potential, and in its heyday, like you got to see some of it, and it was a mini Disney Springs. It was an extension. You wanted to walk out of the International Gateway at Epcot and keep your day going. There'd be jugglers or magicians or live music or all of the above. Plus all these little stands, and instead we're seeing things kind of disappear. I mean, we saw a lot of them disappear all at once with COVID. But when they came back really slow. And then even when things that opened, they've taken away. I mean, that brewery that was there wasn't the best, establishment. But they took that out and they didn't put anything else back. There was a food truck there for a little bit, but now it's there only sometimes. Entertainment at night, there might only be one act. It doesn't pull you from Epcot. Like, well, let's keep it. Hurts the business over. The Rolls and the dance hall used to be a hot spot. And now hit or miss. You can nights and there's 6 or 7 people to act or line up the door. So I bring more over there, and you're not.
I think that the Disney people are trying to hack Pete
Honestly,
Carney right now.
Yeah.
I have no idea what he's
No.
saying.
Yeah.
I was watching
what
Desi's
he's
face.
Yeah. Pete, you may have to refresh. We weren't getting some of the stuff you were saying. It was very passionate. I could see the way you were moving your hands. I know you meant it, every bit of it, but we kind of missed a little bit of what he was saying. But he definitely meant every single word of that. There was some of it that we got, but yeah, I agree that it's one of those where, the boardwalk is one of those places. I think just to summarize, I think that what?
I heard you guys missed it all.
Oh, not all of it. Again, you were very passionate, but it was really more of like a, dial-up passionate rather than a Wi-Fi passionate.
It was. There was so much. I was just saying there was so much life there. Like they had all those acts, Jelly Rolls, and Atlantic Dance Hall. There used to be lines out the door. Now you go there some nights and there's 6 people there, and there used to be like 2 or 3 different acts going on at the same time, and now you're lucky to get one. It just I missed the energy that was the boardwalk, which then led people over to the Swan and Dolphin, and you go to Kimonos and sing karaoke till 2 in the morning. Like there was a whole flow of the night, especially like going from Epcot during a festival. I don't know. And now it's just like you leave Epcot and everyone's like, we're going home and going to sleep, which I guess is responsible, but not as much fun as the old days.
I got to tell you this story. My son was taking his friends. He was like, I know how to do Disney now. I'm taking my friend, I'm taking my friends. We're going. I'm going to Sherpa the whole thing. He put it all together. The very first night they got there, they were staying at Pop Century. They took the Skyliner over. They went to Boardwalk and didn't realize that the Skyliner stops 90 minutes after Epcot closes and not when the boardwalk closes. So as they were leaving like Abracadabra area, they got over the Skyliner. It's like, oop, this is closed. We are stuck. So they had to Uber back. But I think he was like, okay, this is my Disney credibility has immediately been shot. He's like texting me going, we're stuck. What do I do? And I was like, Uber, I guess, is what you need to do. Because again, they should allow for more of that. They should allow for more Disney Springs at night. It used to be like you get done with the parks, you could go to Disney Springs for 2 a.m.
It used
but
to
now
be
it's
2 every night. Now it's 12 or 11.
Yeah, 11 o'clock, and back in the day, Pleasure Island at midnight would do fireworks and just be getting going. So, that's the thing. So let's talk about this for a little bit. This has been a sore subject in the Disney community for a little while now, that Disney has changed their disability service, and it's really kind of more, it's edged a lot of people out that used to be able to get the service. And again, I sort of get it, because it's one of those things where maybe some people were abusing the system, but it feels like you should let everyone who needs this have it. And if that means a couple people get to get over on you, I mean, I would rather have that than I would people not be able to use the system that they need. So at D23, they actually put up a sign that said, I almost died for my country. I can't risk dying for a theme park. Have fun for both of us. Wow. really, really strong. And then on the same vein, there was a story that we posted on WDWNT this week about a guest with narcolepsy shared on TikTok the negatives of her Disneyland experience without a disability pass. And she was talking about she has narcolepsy. She needed to be in the line because she couldn't get the pass anymore. And it's one of those things where you want the people who need it to have it, but it's continuing to be an issue. So I don't know, Pete, do you have opinions on this one?
Yeah, I mean it's tough. I totally agree with everything you said. Everyone who has a disability that it doesn't make it can have a normal enjoyable visit that, let's say, an able-bodied person can have. Then yeah, everyone should have a magical, awesome, amazing day. I don't know. It's tough because I don't know what Disney should do exactly. Like maybe, I mean, they're so specific with, I guess, what they consider a disability in this policy is maybe just go to, I mean, the old system was just, hey, tell us what's wrong and we trust you. There's got to be something in the middle in some ground, whether it's even like a note from the doctor that says, hey, for whatever that disability might be, X, Y, or Z, whether it's something that's maybe simulating out here or internal with your bowels or whatever's going on or standing, sitting, whatever. If you have a note from a doctor, to me, that kind of like used to be like the general rule of thumb of like, okay, this counts. Like it's kind of like a prescription almost. Like, hey, this person can't be in a line or around people for more than 15 minutes for whatever reason. Doctor says it, they're good to go. I think that's like pretty fair. But yeah, I totally agree. If you're paying, especially with the cost of Disney nowadays, everyone should have the opportunity to have the most magical, amazing, fun, fantastic day of their lives.
Yeah. And you know what? It's one of those things where Disney, as a private business, can do whatever they want to, but it's still a bad look for them. Some of the people that I've seen are in wheelchairs. There was a girl in a wheelchair with a respirator, and she was like denied disability. And it's like, how severe does it have to be for you to, to give them something like that? I mean, I get it if it's, I don't know. I don't want people to like get over, but they've also set us up for this because they charge for Lightning Lane Multipass, and then Fast Pass used to be free, so people didn't try to get over because you could just get Fast Passes. I heard somebody suggest that they should, make something available to people who have disabilities. Maybe if you have an annual pass, that you could add on, a DAS system at a cost. If it's about them making money, at least that opportunity would be there for them. But we don't talk about this issue all the time because none of us on the panel have one, or at least on this panel. So I think it's one of those things where we want to acknowledge the issue, but also, I mean, we feel for the people who really need it, who aren't getting it. So anyway, we're going to move on to something a little more strange. But before we do, Shannon,
no,
we have a super chat. Are you ready?
No.
Close enough. The Trauma Factor gave us a super chat here that said, "Hi, Desi. Oh, hey, Rob. So, I mean, thank you.
What
I
am
appreciate
dancing
it."
For?
She's like, she's dancing for Desi's
Tips.
super chat is basically what's happening there. But we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here and for chatting with us. So, anyway. All right, so let's move on to talk about these strange tales. This is a segment that we call It Came from the Parks. And I say that because we at WDWNT, they post a lot of articles during the week about some strange things that we're like, really? Did that happen? And so what we do is we basically let everybody on the panel decide which of these they want to talk about. When I go through them, usually the longer the title, the weirder the story. So here are your options. Everybody on the panel gets to choose one. You can choose the same one. Everybody can choose the same one. But here are this week's, we'll call them candidates. The first one is Fight Breaks Out During Fantasmic at Disneyland. Woman suing Walt Disney World over injuries sustained in a Main Street stampede. And then corrections officer fired after shoving stroller with baby in it toward his wife at Walt Disney World. See, again, that's the gold, I feel like, because that's the longest, weirdest title. But we'll start with you, Shannon, and we'll work our way down clockwise. Which is the one that you'd like to talk about?
I'll take the stroller for 100 Bob. Rob.
Rob. Rob, yeah.
I mean, this is sad, especially since the child was in the stroller, but strollers and ECVs are weapons in those parks. I mean, I think everyone here has probably had a heel clipped at one point or another, and that can be very impactful and very painful. So I understand why this was such a serious situation, but everyone's got to be on their toes with those things.
Well, before we go any further, we got another super chat, and I feel like Shannon's gonna have to dance for this one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Hope you're well, Shannon. Great to see you, Pete.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Thank you, Care Bear, for that one. Care Bear, we appreciate you. Thank you for saving some feelings tonight. We appreciate it. Anyway, yeah, yeah, it's definitely, strollers are a thing. I think we've all been clipped on a very tight main street by at least a stroller once in our lives, either on your heels or whatever. And having had to navigate before with the stroller, it's a tough thing to do. But yeah, that's crazy. Pete, any of these pop out to you? It's something you'd like to talk about?
I'm positive, Pete. So these
I know you're positive. I know you're positive. I know you're positive.
They hurt my soul. I would just say I could probably lump all of them together. Well, maybe not the fight. The fights, the big fights that happen are usually like family members among family members, not two different groups. Like the really bad fights are typically that, because group versus group tends to fizzle out or just yelling matches, I find. And then also the other story about the guy losing his job because he pushed the stroller into his wife or whatever. I think we all just need, I know that Walt Disney World is so expensive and it's so important and there's a lot of money and planning and these perfect situations that we're trying to have. And I think tensions are high, and I think we just need to remember, we're just there to have a good time, and just maybe take a deep breath if you're someone that gets fired up easily at Walt Disney World. And that's all. I just want everyone to have a good time.
Okay, that's fair. I get it. Desi?
I don't know what it is about Disney World that makes people act like complete crazies, or is it just that there's that many crazies in the world, so eventually you're going to have some of them filter into Disney? But I mean, to have a fist fight over a fireworks show, I mean, not worth it. And I saw hair pulling. I think I heard somebody in the video, I'm pressing charges. Everybody has lost their darn minds, and everyone just needs to cool down. It's fireworks. It's okay.
Well, this is the Disneyland one, so I think part of the problem is that the Blue Bayou dining package was purchased, and so I think it's Disney in general, obviously, right? Because you spend that much money on a dining package, and you're like, I'm all set to go see Fantasmic, and we paid all this money. I remember buying River Belle Terrace dining package, and we hated the meal. And then my family was wanted to go home before Fantasmic, and I'm like, are you? Nope, no, we're staying. So
I will say another way to help this a little bit too is I noticed this in certain parks, even here in Florida compared to Disneyland, and even among certain parks here. And I won't say which place because I love all the cast members, but is it giving cast members more strength in numbers? There are some evening events and large crowded places that in some parks you have a cast member every it seems 3 feet. They could reach out and high five. There's so many cast members. And other nighttime crowded events where I can look around and not even see one and not even be sure if a cast member's around. And if you have all that crowding and that literally human friction, I think that means you should have more cast members around just in case something like that should break out. Or even if someone says hey, they snuck into this area, or hey, we paid to be there, they can mediate that before violence happens and it turns into a story like this.
Gotcha. All right, so before we move on, Shannon, you ready? This one, actually, we have, I think, 2 here. One of them is, if only Lightning Lane was the plan for Disney security to whisk troublemakers out of the parks more quickly. Yes, there should be. That is exactly something they should do, Matt. So, Matt S., thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate it. Lightning Lane out of the park, Like, this is your fast pass to get out of the way and let everyone else enjoy their time. Also from Billy Batson 22, love ParksCenter. Also love tonight's background friends, including Life Day Chewy, Gertie, and Pete's ABC banner. No mention of my blue moving background. I mean, this is 20 feet long. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. No, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for being a fan of the show and for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate all of you guys. Really, thank you so much. So let's move on to talk about this rumor that we've heard. Because how do rumors get started? They're started by the jealous people. Anybody? Nobody? Okay. There is a rumor that Disneyland will be introducing a premier pass for Lightning Lane, which, when you throw the word premiere on it, you got to know it's going to be mo money. So basically the gist is that we had thank you. We had free fast pass, and then Disneyland started charging before COVID for Max Pass, and it was like, okay, well, you're giving us what Disney World had, but you're charging a little bit for it, and you don't have to do it, but it also could be included into your annual pass. And so it was a mild inconvenience, but it was still paid. And then after COVID, Fast Pass didn't come back. They came back with Genie Plus. They did the Genie dirty by making him be the mascot for this paid Lightning Lane, even though it was like there was Lightning Lane and then there was Genie Plus, and people were confused by that. Is this the Genie Plus lane? No, it says Lightning Lane up there. And so they changed it to Lightning Lane Multipass, and they heard us. They made some changes on the East Coast where you can reserve in advance 7 days if you're staying on Disney property, and be able to reserve, just like you could before, 3 passes per day to be able to go into the park, rather than getting up at 7 a.m. on your vacation to start reserving paid reservations. So they didn't do that at Disneyland. At Disneyland, they changed the name of Genie Plus to the Lightning Lane Multipass, but it didn't allow for advanced booking. So our thought process here is that this Premier Pass will allow for that, but obviously they're not just going to include it with what is existing now. So now, after they've kind of cleared up, there's Lightning Lane Single Pass and Lightning Lane Multipass. Now in California, you're going to have theoretically have Lightning Lane Single Pass, Lightning Lane Multipass, and Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Pete, make it make sense. Go.
All right. Here's how it goes. I hate this. I hate this so much. I really, every time I feel like I finally know how to work one of the systems, they're like, gotcha, we're going to throw the whole thing out. I do think what you were saying, I think is going to be accurate. I think we're basically going to have this system at least for another 2 years. That seems to be the trial period of these things. Where we basically still have what we had. We have Genie Plus, but it just repackaged as multi-lane and Lightning Lane Multipass and all that other fun stuff. Whatever you want to call it. I do think that it's going to be either an extra charge or maybe bundled into packaging where you can, I mean, as it is now, they were saying you 7 days out if you're staying on property or whatever it was. I do think it would, honestly, I think people would pay. The smartest way for them to do this is, a lot of us annual pass holders miss the old Fast Pass, is if there was a different tier Fast Pass where I had to pay a little bit more for the whole year and it was split up over 12 months, where I'm also a person who gets 3 Lightning Lanes a day, like the old Fast Pass. That's something I'd be interested in if they wanted to do something like that and bundle it that way. But, so I don't know. I do think they're going to figure out a way to make this where everyone's buying in. It's not the exception. It's almost like everyone's doing it.
Can I just tell you, in comparison, I have this issue every time I fly Southwest, and I fly Southwest because I'm cheap, and it is cheaper, is that they will charge you for Wi-Fi, and it's $8 a trip, which is not a backbreaker. And so I have that, like, kind of crisis of faith of, like, can I just wait an hour and a half, or do I need to buy this $8 thing?
Like,
yeah. Like, whereas if I fly Delta, I'm going to pay more for the ticket, but they include Wi-Fi. So to your point, like, I don't want to have to make the decision every single day of my vacation. Am I going to buy this or am I not? If I had made the decision to buy a more expensive annual pass earlier on, and that's what Max Pass did in Disneyland, it's dumb, but I'd feel so much better about that decision, because then I wouldn't have to decide per day. Is today a Lightning Lane Multipass day where we're going to shell it out for all 4 members of the family or not?
It also helps with planning too, because I mean, like the days of people planning their vacation 60, 90, 120 days out are almost non-existent. I mean, you have to do that for some dining reservations, but you used to do your fast passes 60 days out. You used to like plan your trip, and now you're like, are we rolling the dice until a week before? I mean, these people plan these trips, and they cost just as much as some weddings. Imagine waiting to 7 days before or 3 days before your wedding and the amount of money you're spending to see what rides and shows you're going to do and get. It's kind of wild.
Yep. No, I agree. Before we move on, Shannon, help me out, please. There it is. And none of these are your sister tonight, by the way, which is interesting.
I know. She's sleeping.
The Trauma Factor's back. It says, Damaro said they will offer a Royal Rumble fireworks package due to popular demand. Yeah, I mean, come on. This is like incorporate WWE maybe. Yeah, that'd be great, so that there was actually sanctioned fighting rather than non-sanctioned fighting happening in the parks. But yeah, I mean, I feel like people would pay for that. I might even get the VIP for that one. Thank you so much, Trauma Factor. We appreciate you. So let's move on to fan nights. And Pete, I hate to tell you, the girls have opted out of this one because Desi hates Universal. She refuses to be nice to Universal again until Back to the Future is returned to its rightful spot at the parks. So in California, especially, again, talking about California, Disneyland has done these theme nights. They did Star Wars nights. They did all these cool things that, again, have great characters that we've never seen, that we don't get to see on the East Coast. And now Universal, to talk about this, let me see if I have it. Yeah, here we go. The old-fashioned. We're going to have a little bit of a quick Universal Center here. And we're going to talk about this. Universal Fan Fest nights. So it's a little bit like what they do at Disneyland, but instead of it being like a Valentine's night or a Star Wars night or a Disney Channel night, or I was trying to vamp because Pete was gone. He's coming back with something, I don't know what.
Or keep going. Or what kind of night? Tell me the kind of night.
So here's what they're going to do, Pete. They're going to have Back to the Future night, which I don't know why Desi wouldn't be excited about that, but here it is. And then Star Trek night, and then Dungeons and Dragons night. So this is where, like, I feel like they're kind of finally catching on to what Disney was doing, but they're tapping into other fandoms. I don't know if you are. Oh, that's why, because you've got your Universal shirt.
Universal. We're going to Universal. I had to change
yeah, we're doing it. Shirt. I appreciate it. I need to give you a heads up next time. I'm so sorry. This is on me.
You were vamping beautifully. I need to just like.
Yeah. I was just so close, just so close. But again, like Dungeons and Dragons, I assume they're talking about the board game and not the Chris Pine movie. And then Star Trek, though, that's feels like an untapped market. And then on Back to the Future Fan Night, I expect to see all of us fly out there and hang out with Doc and Marty. Thoughts?
How has no one done this yet? And honestly, you said they're kind of silly from Disney. How does Disney not do this more hardcore? And by that I mean like specifically for that specific hardcore fan of that individual property. This is brilliant by Universal because really they don't have to do much. I mean, look at what they have like special events here, like the Orlando Informer or whatever, throws events, rents out the park, does all these things. There's a lot of these little special events. Universal could do it themselves, leave the park open to the public, but just have niche things for these fan groups. I mean, like you said, Star Trek. If you said, hey, we're doing a Star Trek themed night at Universal this night, all those Trekkies are coming out. You got Back to the Future, and then you're only doing these like once a year, once every few years, because you're changing properties. It is brilliant. Like if they think of all the properties Universal owns, if they had like September 15th, we're at Universal Orlando, we're doing the Office theme night. We're gonna have Kevin's Chili. We're gonna have picture taking opportunities and like a walkthrough exhibit of some old stuff from the show. And then the park's just open to everyone dress as characters and hang out with other Office fans. I would go to that. That's fun. And all they had to do was make some chili, have some, props they get from the old department. I mean, this is brilliance by them. This is like a trivia company doing different themed TV nights so you get different crowds every week. Why not use different fandoms to fill these voids and actually bring fans together? It's a win-win for both communities. And there you go. That's my hot take.
Dude, you had me at Kevin's Chili. You really did. Like that, I'm ready. Like, why are we not doing more of that stuff at Universal Orlando? I don't know, but yeah, Disney has done it with like the Valentine's night, and they have like pairs of couples, which is kind of cute, and they do Star Wars. But why don't they do a Marvel night? Why don't they do a Pixar? Like they did a little bit, like they do Pixar Fest and things like that. I just think they need to do more of that kind of stuff because it would make them more money, because they're always hard ticket events. But the Fan Fest thing for Star Trek seems like it's something, not their property, by the way, not their property. It belongs to Paramount, but they certainly have gotten the ability to do that. But they have so much with Jurassic Park and with, Ghostbusters and all these other things that we really love. So maybe if they bring in Back to the Future night in Florida, Desi would go?
I might. I could
Okay.
be persuaded.
No
But
promises.
I'm not going to. No,
No promises.
I'd have to think
Gotcha.
long and hard about
Yeah,
it.
you'd have to twist your arm, is what Pete is saying. So I just want to touch on this a little bit because again, Disney does a really good job of celebrating different events and months, and this is stuff that is coming for Hispanic Heritage Month. There's a lot of offerings, including a mariachi experience and music. They're extending it into October here with the Latin Ambition. I don't know. I feel like that all four of these nights that they're having at Food and Wine, I feel like Pete Carney's going to be there for those. Latin Ambition, Jesse and Joy. Yeah, that should be awesome. And then cupcakes and things, and then this really cool shirt, and then they're doing some other merch and stuff for that. I'm just, I like it when they do stuff like this for Black History Month, for International Women's Month, things like that. I feel like they do a really good job of this stuff. Pete, again, I'm gonna go to you. Do you go out there and like sample all of this stuff, and also will you be there for Latin Ambition night?
I agree with you. Number one, I love all this stuff. Will I be sampling everything? I am not a big cupcake person, so they're out there, and I saw that the cupcake is one of the offerings. So probably not that, but I will be there celebrating. So like, even though I'm not partaking in a dessert, I do love when they do stuff like this, like you said. No matter what the group is, I think it's fun to mix things up from the daily routine at Disney, whether it's for the annual pass holder like myself, who's there often, or it's cool to say you were there when this special occasion happened, and to look back on your vacations and remember that specific memory when they had these very special moments in the park. So I love the stuff like this. Will I be there for those nights? I'll be there for some of them. I actually have a wedding in New York. I have to go back for that exact weekend. But Adventures by Carney, we live at Epcot during Food and Wine. I love all the entertainment, and this year is a really fun lineup.
You're gonna be gone that weekend? I was coming to see you that weekend. Interesting.
If it's the
Weird
last
timing.
weekend in September, I'm away. But the first weekend in October, we're having a big group hangout, so come hang out with us.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Let's move on then and talk about Food and Wine Festival, because I feel like, we talked about it a little bit on last week's show, but I think Desi was on last week, but the rest of the crew wasn't here, and I would love to hear some of the stuff that you guys have to say about it. But before we get into the food part of it, one thing that's come up since then is Communicore Hall will be temporarily closed ahead of the International Food and Wine Festival. I have to say that I didn't know what to expect for Communicore Hall, and I went and saw it when it first opened up in July, I think it was. No, June. In June, and I went in there and I walked around and went, what is this? It looks like it looks like an airport terminal. It's like there was nothing in there. There were some banners that looked like they were hung a little crooked.
It's a common space. That's what it is. It's just like some banners, some weird, like 4 different types of seating, and like some are cushioned, some are not. There's different table heights, a couple of chargers, but it's air conditioned and it is a multi-use space, which is why this makes complete sense. When I first saw it, I'm like, they're literally going to use this for festivals. This is just a air conditioned breezeway between festivals, and then they have to use that. Remember when how many people used to go into the old building that was there, where like the carpeted walls, and they would take their food from the festivals and just sit in the air conditioning against the carpeted walls. And then they had like the taste lab was in there, for a few festivals. Remember the taste lab?
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, I do.
Anyway, I think this is gonna be a festival use space for sure, because that they can move anything they want in there. That's a common space.
But the thing about it is, when they first launched this, it was to replace the festival center that was supposed to be there. There was the multi-level with the park on the top. That I love getting
Yeah,
Shannon going
that's
about
not a
this because she
replacement.
has the chip about that one. But it was supposed to be magnificent, year-round festival center, great. This is actually the first festival that's happened since they've opened this up, because they ended Flower and Garden a little bit early this year, and they're starting Food and Wine. It seems like maybe a little bit later than normal. So it's one of those where it hasn't been used yet for what they have kind of said it would be used for. But I do know that on opening press day, I looked at Twitter and I was like, this doesn't look like what I just walked through. So apparently there are things in the wall that open up, and there's like some state of the art stuff that is going to be there. I'm hoping that they are really going to transition this place into something amazing looking, and not like you said, like the old Communicore where people would sit on the floor and the carpeted
I don't
walls
know.
and eat stuff. But Shannon, talk to me a little bit about this.
I don't know. Are that many people going to be using it as a festival place? That, when I'm thinking of, it's Florida, it's really hot, and whatever food I get, I'm just trying to eat it as quickly as possible on a trash can, whatever I can find. Like, I'm not necessarily going to be getting something and then walking to this big empty air conditioned space. And it doesn't help that the first time I ever walked in there, someone was taking their nasty sweaty socks off and just airing their feet. And I don't need to be
Ew.
eating. But yeah, it was
It was hot
repulsive.
out.
I mean, it was a quiet, air conditioned space, but I don't need to see your footsies out like that. Gross.
Your
Well,
what
keep in mind the
footsies out like
festival
that?
favorites booth is right next to that too, and
It
you have a
is.
Yeah,
stage
it's
there,
built in,
and
right?
then that other booth is going to be pretty close too. Like if you look on a map of last year's booth without construction walls, there's 2 or 3, maybe even 4 that are going to be within, let's say, a 25-yard walk.
Are we
Yeah,
still
no,
having the festival show place, or is that closed? Did this replace that?
I think that's been gone. That was gone last year,
Is
right?
it?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's back to
Okay.
private events only.
Okay,
Okay.
so just for reference here, let me just show you. This is the concept art we had for Communicore Hall. This is the concept art for Communicore Hall, and here's a picture of Communicore Hall. So
Oh.
Yeah, someone was
Wait, you
sitting in
changed the
one of
picture?
those.
Wow.
what? Yeah.
Someone was sitting in
They're
one
the
of those
same
benches
picture.
against the wall.
They both look like a bowling alley somehow. If you look at them real quick, they both could be a bowling alley.
I
Maybe that's
guess.
for
Bowling alley?
during Festival of the Arts.
Yep. And then the next one,
Well,
bowling alley.
No, do you remember that Discovery Fun Zone? Anyone remember that? That's what this
Yeah,
reminds me
DZ at Discovery Zone.
of. Yeah.
Look, they're
Good
both
I
times.
bowling
don't
alleys.
I don't know. I look at this though, and I hope, like, the when we looked at it from the press day, it looked like that maybe the walls opened up and that you could have like an actual booth across there and really do
They had
something with it.
inside
I
out.
know. I talked to Jake about this, and he said that he had been in there in the kitchen area that they have, which is part of that festival favorites section. But in the kitchen, he said that it's all set up that there are cameras and things so that people could do demonstrations. And so I would love to think that they are going to blow us away, and hopefully. Desi always says this, like, I'm going to wait and see what happens, right? Don't you always say that? Like, wait and see what happens. Do you think that they're going to blow us away, Desi?
I hope they do. I hope that the first festival we see with the Communicore Hall in all of its glory, we are like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry that I doubted you and thought that this looked like the bowling alley. This is incredible. This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, let's hope that that's what happens.
I'm sorry you thought this was a bowling alley, and yeah, then they make it something really nice. Yeah, Shannon, since you weren't here last week, tell us what foods you're looking forward to most for this year, or that you've loved in the past at the Food and Wine
Oh,
Festival. Tell the people your highest recommendation for Food and Wine Festival.
oh no, I don't know on the spot, but I know what I want to try from Flavors from Fire, I believe is the booth, and they have something there with like a brie fondue, a sandwich, and that I want to try. On my go-to for years, one of my favorites has always been the fisherman's pie. I'm not sure if it's there this year, but I always
So
recommend that.
here's the flavors from Fire. There was one of these you said that you.
Yeah, scroll down. What's on Okay, there.
The
Steakhouse blended
Impossible.
burger.
Oh, gotcha.
No,
So
who
that's
cares about the
probably
impossible
this.
stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, that looks good. Who cares about the impossible stuff? The vegans care about the impossible stuff. Pete, what are you looking forward to eating, or what would you recommend for the Epcot Food and Wine Festival?
Whoa.
All right. I am very excited about this year's Food and Wine Festival. First of all, that mac and cheese booth looks banging. Very excited. Put truffle in
Macatizers.
everything. It's going to be fantastic. Listen, let's talk. We all know Italy is going to be terrible, so let's just cross that out. So let's talk about some highlights. We know Japan always delivers. France always delivers. Morocco, surprisingly, always delivers. I'm excited about the new booth mac and cheese, but what I'm curious about, and I didn't see it on here, but maybe you saw it, I didn't. Did they tell you what was going to be in the festival favorites yet? Or is that still TBD?
No, it's on here. Hang on a second, I'll find it for you.
I didn't see that one yet, and that's what I wanted to see.
Festival favorites menu is right
I saw
here.
it. Yeah. Oh, it was right underneath the other one. It was underneath new. Sorry. Yeah, the
Yeah, it
kielbasa,
says
the pierogies, barbecue pork rinds. Like, I just want to know where they came up with these. Whose favorites
Yeah,
are these?
agreed.
Because I thought we had like two theories. One, was it going to be the most popular items ordered last year, or what they thought would be the best seller, like what they wanted to push through? Like, what was going to be their angle here? None of these sound familiar at all. So I don't know who decided they were a favorite.
I think Desi did. I think she was like, "These are my favorites. I
well,
love
this makes
these."
complete
They did.
sense.
Yeah, they
we all
pulled
know-
me into a room and they offered me like 30 different plates and I was like that one, and that one.
And you can tell from Desi's Polish background, she's obviously going for
Obviously.
So currently, the festival favorites before, and again, the Food and Wine Festival opens up this week, Thursday. It opens up, so go and catch Pete Carney hanging out by the Italy booth, ragging on people. But
It's also my birthday Thursday, opening day, and
Happy
my birthday.
birthday.
what?
I'll be at Epcot. Come hang out. And we'll
Food
be live.
offerings currently at the festival's favorites are the cheese stuffed arepas, and then the coconut tres leches are currently
Oh, that does sound
the
like I
ones.
picked it out.
And then the coconut passion fruit smoothie. These are the things currently
That also
at
sounds
festival
like I picked
favorites.
it out.
It's so funny that in the app, you can look at the menus this year, which I don't know that I've always seen that as a possibility, is to look at the
Yeah.
food menus
that's
in here.
nice.
So I'm loving that. But the problem is if it's something that currently is open, like the refreshment outpost. It's driving me insane because the refreshment outpost has this thing that looks like a zebra dome, and if I click on the menu, it's currently what's there, not what's gonna be there. But all the rest of them will show you what's going to be there. Currently, they have a frozen slushy and a Dole Whip cherry. So it looks like a lot of good food
Do
this
we,
year. I'm excited to go and check it.
Can we play a fun game? And hopefully
Sure.
I'll come back in a month and we can see what happened. Can we all just guess a number of what the roasted warm water lobster tail with garlic butter will cost at this year's Food and Wine Festival?
Is there not a price on
16?
it yet?
There's no price on mine.
Okay.
Is there a
No,
price on
I mean,
someone else's?
Do we have a
No, no.
picture of it? I need to know how big it's going to be.
yeah.
Otherwise,
I
my
can pull it
answer
up.
is market price.
Okay.
Yeah, hang on a
Well,
sec.
that's ridiculous. It's they didn't put out market on the sign. I think it was like $14 at Flower and Garden, but it was a different take. It was over at the booth that initially was inside like the temporary space, and then they moved it once the booth was ready over next to Imagination on the way to Canada. There it
There's
is.
your look at it, Desi. So now you don't have to
I
say
don't know,
market price.
Very
Did they
small.
put out prices yet? I didn't see prices anywhere.
No, they do not have prices. I'm actually looking in the app itself, and there are no prices. Roasted warm water lobster tail with garlic butter, but no prices yet. What is your guess? I mean, Pete, what did you say? $15?
I was gonna say I think it's gonna be like $14.99. Yeah.
I'm
Shannon,
gonna
what do
go
you think?
$16.99. Oh, sorry.
I said 16. Yeah.
Okay, 16. Wait a minute. So,
Yeah.
so you said 16 flat, and Desi, you're $16.99. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Sure.
$1, Bob.
Stop with the Bob stuff.
2 Bob
anyway,
in one night.
I know, right? Crazy. This is not Bob Barker, and we were supposed to say Drew. I mean, like, obviously. For me, the fry basket,
No.
I think, is still one of.
In a Carolina Reaper curry pepper wing this year too.
Yeah, they changed up. My son was talking about how excited he was that the Brewing Lab was coming back, and I read him the description. He's like, "That's not what they did last year. It was the Carolina Reaper." And I was
last
like,
year
"Oh,
it was a Scotch bonnet, I think."
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly."
But they
He was like,
but they needed to bring back that pickle milkshake.
Oh yeah, that is what I mean. They just loved watching us people who have to try it on camera drink it and laugh on camera. Just look at these idiots.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it. Let's move on to our last topic of the night, which kind of ties in, because where do you eat your food when you're at the Food and Wine Festival? You eat it on a trash can, and so. Just when I think they've made all of the dumbest toys and collectibles they possibly can, Hong Kong says, "Hold my beer," and they come up with the collectible trash can figurines. They're blind boxed, by the way, so you don't know what you're getting, and you have to buy a whole bunch of them to figure out, to get the whole set. So
you can't feel them.
They're so smart. They make you buy a bunch of these so you can literally throw some of them in the trash trying to find the one you need. That's brilliant.
I mean, I honestly would probably fall for this and buy them if they were selling them here, because they're themed to the parks, and a lot of the stuff in the parks I like. And these only cost about $9 there, like in American, $8.85, which is not bad. Here they would be at least $14.99. Because that's what like the Wishables and the Munchlings and all those kind of things cost. But again, it's like, you know what people need to buy? Miniature versions of our trash cans. And I don't know, like I think if it was here, I'd probably cave. Desi, you have 2 kids. Would they love to collect all the trash cans?
Probably, because they're crazy. But would I actually buy it for them? No. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not going to buy trash cans. It is a good price. I will say, at least when I was in Tokyo, since that's my title tonight, when I was in Tokyo, the prices for everything were a lot cheaper than they were here. And, I probably went overboard on buying too many things. So when I go to Shanghai, I'm probably going to do the same.
Well, Fire Chief in chat said, "Can't wait for the themed toilet collection." Honestly, they've done the door, like the men's and women's like door signs have been pins, and again, I was like, "That's done. How do I get them all?"
The men's room floor that are tiled at Animal Kingdom are gorgeous.
Yeah. Okay. Is that your favorite?
That's all I have to say on it. I can't.
Okay.
Go into detail.
All right, so we've gone a little. Yeah, so we've gone a little over tonight, and Shannon's over here going, "I don't like
this,"
because she doesn't. She doesn't at all. But we appreciate you guys hanging with us tonight. Thank you guys for being with us on ParksCenter. We will be back again next Sunday night for another edition of ParksCenter. If you stop it, but I want to give a shout out to our WIGS members. We love our WIGS, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. That's our Patreon group, and we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for being a member of the family. If you want to find out more about that, you can go to patreon.com/WDWNT. Pete, what's your Patreon?
My Patreon, Adventures by Cardi, but go check out Adventures by Cardi on YouTube, because we're only 50 people away from 10,000 subscribers, and when we hit it, I'm going to do a 24-hour nonstop live stream at Disney World. So it'll be a lot of fun. You
mean we? You're inviting me, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're only 50 subscribers away, so it's going to be soon. I'm thinking in the next 2-3 weeks, we'll be doing this 24-hour stream. Hopefully, we'll hit it in the next week. And like I said, if anyone's around on Thursday at Epcot, it'll be my birthday and opening day of Food and Wine. We'll be live, and just come over and hang out with us if you're there.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Also, we have a couple of things that we've done recently. We did a Deep in the Plus. We did a D23 Studios panel. Patrick and I walked through every single solitary announcement from the Studios panel that happened. And then last week on ParksCenter, we went through every single park announcement that happened and gave our take on that. Coming up on Deep in the Plus this Wednesday night is going to be Once Upon a Time Season 1. With Desi is going to be on that one, and then September 4th is going to be Toy Story 1 with Shannon. and then we're going to be doing Never Been Kissed and Return to Oz. But I got to tell you, with Once Upon a Time, and we were talking about this a little bit, 22 episodes. I didn't realize how long it was going to take me to watch 22 episodes of Once Upon a Time. I don't know how we decided to get into this. I think it was because we were talking about Descendants, and that reminds me of Once Upon a Time. We should review that. That's what we're doing this Wednesday night. Is we're reviewing Once Upon a Time season 1. So hopefully you guys will join us at 9 o'clock right here for Deep in the Plus, and then next Sunday night, even though it is a Labor Day weekend, we're still going to be here on Sunday night, bringing you another ParksCenter. Network TV, I don't know if you all remember Network TV. That's probably going to be running reruns. So you're going to want to come hang out with us next Sunday night at 9 p.m. Thank you guys so much. Pete, thanks for being on. I appreciate it. If you are a Wigs member, we got a quick post show after this for everybody, and we appreciate it. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next time.
TTFN.
Bum, 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 bum.
All right, hang on a second.